Wrestling fans, the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive explodes into Christmas with 12 featured superstar guests. We can't bring you a live wrestling event due to COVID restrictions, but we'll be bringing you a series of cyber autograph signings and meet and greets. This Sunday night during WWE's Farewell to the Undertaker at Survivor Series, join former WWE Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion Marty Jannetty for a live cyber autograph signing and watch-along. You never know what to expect with Marty live. Get a personalized autograph from Marty Jannetty signed live on the air and mailed to your home. Join us now through mid-December as the superstars help us continue our mission to update Santa Claus's GPS to find every kid's house this Christmas, put smiles on faces while honoring Paul Bearer's memory. VIP packages are still available. Don't worry if you've missed a live superstar signing. Every star is signing enough photos and posters while they're in Boston to fill VIP packages through December the 19th. Whether for your wrestling collection or to give as a holiday gift, if you're going to take part in any toy drive this year, please help our 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. Visit BostonWrestling.com and our social media platforms for complete event and toy drive information.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to a Saturday bonus edition of Wrestling Insiders as we review the Friday, November the 20th, 2020 edition of WWE SmackDown under the Thunderdome at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Birthday of the Hall of Famer and member of the Boston Wrestling MWF Board of Directors, Mark Dustin. It's an extremely pleasant late fall day as we tape this, record this, approaching 60 degrees. Outside MWF Studios in downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, the zip code of champions, 02176. We have a big weekend ahead, folks. Tomorrow, in addition to the early morning Wrestling Insiders flashback, at noontime, it's Wrestling Insiders Special Edition with Vicky Guerrero in a must-see female studio shoot interview. The first time we've had one of the great women of professional wrestling join us live in studio. I think it's an exceptional episode. We'll see what you think. Then at 7 p.m., we go L-I-V-E live for a Survivor Series watch-along and Marty Jannetty virtual autograph signing as part of the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fanfest. We can't bring you the live event, so we're going around the world to reach everybody. Interact with Marty live, get an autograph photo signed to you live on the air, or maybe have one made out to a loved one as a gift, and we can mail it directly to your home while helping our efforts to update Santa Claus's GPS and honor Paul Bearer's memory. This week, we're back at it with all 4 of our weekly Wrestling Insiders in-studio shoot interview talk shows. Of course, Tuesday, we have WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday, with the recent NXT Cruiserweight Champion and star of MTV The Challenge 36, Leo Rush. Thursday night, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll look at the 80s and 90s. Then we cap off the week with what John Cena's Seniors Dome thinks of the Thunderdome, and much more on Friday nights. All of our weekly talk shows begin at 10 p.m. Eastern. On Thanksgiving Eve, after the Rush Hour with Leo, tune up your WWE network as myself, Dave Carter, and Socko himself are having a WWF Survivor Series 1987 watch-along. Let's take a break from sports entertainment in 2020, no matter what you think of it, and relive the event that started it all as a Thanksgiving night tradition during one of the great years in company history. As always, we're interested in your thoughts on last night's SmackDown, hoping the whole gang is here tonight, even on a Saturday. We're talking Slick Rick B and his new home in Maine. We're talking about Tania, whatever your name may be, Stoney, Smokey, Maria Davis out in Pittsburgh, a little bit of heat. I guess Nightbot tossed her last night during John Cena Sr.'s Fabulous Friday. I guess it was not a Fabulous Friday for Maria. We apologize for that. We have the technicians looking into it as we speak. Trigger Trey, if he's not smoking it up too much down there with the Street Profits. We got Ken. We got all of the Kevins. We have our new friend Lisa. We got Big Ant from Thunder Valley. Will Cortez. Larson is missing in action again. I don't know. Some of the regulars think that Larson is under an assumed identity now. It's very difficult to say, considering all we're seeing is typed words, but we'll see. We'll see. Whether you're watching the live premiere with us Saturday night at 9 or watching in the archives, share your thoughts on SmackDown using a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Now that it's the official Christmas season kickoff, let me get in a couple of cheap plugs before we go, fans. If you want that early ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insiders weekly in-studio shoot interviews, access to our world-renowned studio shoot interview DVD library, and to simply help keep wrestling legends working, join our growing family over on Patreon at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. The link is in the description box below. Forgo a Starbucks coffee and enjoy what I believe is now over 100 programs. You'll never have the pro wrestling blues with Boston Wrestling Sports this winter. Our big goal before the end of 2020 is to have 100 regular Patreons with the quality and the quantity. Believe me, there's a lot of quantity to go along with that quality of the shows we produce. I believe we can get the job done. My question to you is, if you haven't joined yet, why? Why haven't you sampled the goods, baby? Because we got a lot of goods we're giving you. We're like one of those bakeries, still in full service during coronavirus times. And as we continue along, my notes went out of order. I can't believe it. My notes are all out of, discombobulated. Well, you know what? Isn't that make life interesting? Well, you know what? I'm going to have to do this on the fly now. Again, don't forget VIP packages for the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fanfest are flying. If you missed Leo Rush and Tony's cyber autograph signings and interviews, don't worry. Both men signed plenty of autographs and all of the posters for our VIPs that will be included in your packages. Bushwhacker Luke, who cannot be with us due to a family health issue, is going to sign the posters as well. We're going to mail them to him, and he's going to mail them back. The interviews that we did already conduct with Leo and Tony, as well as individual 8x10 autograph photos, if interested, are available for sale now on BostonWrestling.com. Let's run through the rest of the appearances for the Paul Bearer Cyber Toy Drive real quick. As noted, tomorrow night during Survivor Series, we have Marty Jannetty. We take a break Thanksgiving weekend, at least as far as the live appearances go, then explode into December with a variety of great guests, even more than Cecil. Wednesday morning when John Cena Sr. was here and Howard Miller directed, and Cecil exploded, let me tell you. On Friday night, December the 4th, we'll be live with Savio Vega, a.k.a. the former martial arts expert Quang, the man that saved Tony Atlas's life in Puerto Rico when Bruiser Brody was murdered. Very interesting. Saturday, December the 5th, things are going to get a little nasty here at MWF Studios as Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs, the Nasty Boys, join us in studio for the very first time, and one that I'm really looking forward to. Then on Sunday night, December the 6th, one of my favorite days of the year, during an NXT TakeOver watch-along, the Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, is back, hosting a live Cyber Christmas party and signing autographs along with his art being available. The following Friday, December the 11th, we'll have the massive Warlord with us live in studio. Saturday, December the 12th, the man that had a 2-year undefeated streak in WWF, the Native American Tatanka, proudly joins the Paul Bearer Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest. We have a doubleheader on Sunday, December the 13th. First, we'll be joined by Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament competitor Wheeler Yuta, a man that also competed here in Boston Wrestling MWF. At the same night, we'll be joined by an old friend for the first time in studio in 8 years, the new Impact World Champion, Rich Swann. As my notes continue to be out of order, I have no idea what to look at next. I don't know how the printers spit these out like this unless I copy and pasted it wrong. John Cena Sr. will also be doing a live signing at a time to be announced, and if any other superstars join the boat late, they'll be included in the VIP package at no extra cost. As we prepare to run down the results, news, and views from SmackDown, the numbers are in from October, and you great fans, again, as I've noted before, you broke records across the board on our YouTube channel for the second straight month. From the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you, we say thank you, we say thank you. We put forth a lot of hard work to keep the lights on and continue to need your help to keep the train going. 3 simple ways you can help big time without it costing you a penny. We know we push the Patreon, we push eBay, we push T-shirts, we push a little bit of everything. But I understand not everybody, especially in 2020, can afford to open up the wallet. But there's a few things you can do that won't cost you a dime. Number 1, share. Share the links to our videos on your social media. There is a button on the YouTube page, I believe, that says share, and you can link it to Facebook, to Twitter, to all these other things I'm not familiar with. And it helps get the word out. It's very, very important to help grow our family. And that's what we need to do to make our ultimate vision a reality. As I've noted, I would love to have an original talk show 7 nights a week like we do with Tony, Leo, Marty, and John Cena Sr. Think of the difference that would make in some of these veterans' lives that have had no income during the worst of times, no live events, almost no personal appearances. But it's all about you guys. The formula is simple. The math is simple. Without professional wrestling fans, shows like this don't exist. The wrestling industry doesn't exist. We don't take you for granted. We realize how important you are to everything that we do. Number 2, just hit the thumbs up button. The more people showing love to this and all of our videos, the more love YouTube shows us in suggesting our videos to other fans. If you're bored, if it's a rainy day, a snowy day, you know, we have over 2,000 videos in the archives. If you want to go through and give all of them a thumbs up, it would really help the cause. Again, it won't cost you a penny, just a moment or several hours of your time. And third, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel. It is absolutely free, provides updates on new videos, and access to well over 2,000 of those free videos we hope you give nothing but thumbs up to. With that said, as the notes continue to be all over the place, I introduce to you in the podcast penthouse, for the very first time, Southwestern Connecticut's finest. I can visually say he does have socks on, Mr. Matt Degnan. Matt, welcome as we prepare for a hellacious weekend with the former WWE Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion Marty Jannetty here in a morning of calm before we begin to rock this afternoon late into the evening.
Well, unlike you, I have my notes in order, so...
Well, I do have I have my notes. They're just
not in
all
order.
Out of order. I thought I numbered them right, but apparently I can't go from pages 1 to 6 in order, but we'll see. All right, what happened last night at the Thunderdome? Marty Jannetty's plane was late. I was stuck at Logan Airport with one of our Boston wrestling assassins that was getting angrier by the minute. The longer we had to wait in the cell phone parking lot as the police kicked us out of the waiting area. What happened on SmackDown Live?
November the 20th.
I didn't get to enjoy it live. I had to DVR it late at night as I was getting my notes in order for Marty.
Well, last night on SmackDown, it was actually the go-home show for Survivor Series. Kicking off the show, the Street Profits and Big E were in the Champions Lounge. I guess it was remodeled or...
The Champions Lounge, is that what it was called?
That's what they've been calling it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They hyped up Undertaker's farewell this Sunday and their match with the New Day on Sunday as well. I wasn't thrilled with the start to the show. Too much comedy. And I feel like it would turn away the basic viewer. You know, right when the show opened, it was Street Profits going right to their chicanery with Big E. I just feel like if you're a basic viewer that was watching, I don't know what was on before SmackDown, but if you see that and you say, oh, it's WWE wrestling, let's see what's going on with this, and then you see those 3 guys kind of goofballing backstage in a Champions Lounge, you kind of say, yeah, this isn't the WWE I saw 10 years ago or whatever, you know?
If that was the Champions Lounge, I'd hate to see where the non-champions hang out. Champions Lounge was about the size of the men's room here at the studio. I didn't understand the Undertaker reenactment from Big E. I thought that made him look like an idiot. The Street Profits usually come across as idiots. I thought the segment was a colossal waste of time, and in the end, nobody cared, would have been my assessment of the opening segment.
Yeah, and then they went out to the ring where the Raw Tag Team Champions Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods then came out for some reason. They claimed they were visiting SmackDown, which I guess people could just show up on the other shows now. Raw superstars can now randomly show up on SmackDown and just challenge people to matches, I guess. They never mentioned a wild card rule. They just said they were visiting.
Well, it's only this time of year, as they note, for Survivor Series.
Yeah, the one time of the year they go against each other.
This is it.
And then 2 months from now, we'll see them back on SmackDown, and then
I believe them this time. This is it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Again, more comedy within the first 5 minutes of the show. I don't know how much. I don't know why you'd kick off the show with just 5 straight minutes of just chicanery and BS. I don't know. Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn then came out to interrupt the segment.
To make it worse.
I actually have that in my notes, which made it even worse.
Him and his little green hat.
These three argued until Baron Corbin came out to join this awful segment and somehow made it better, but that's not saying much. Dolph Ziggler then came out with Robert Roode to make this segment even worse.
He didn't have his robe on.
And now they have those leather jackets.
Yeah, well.
And it just became an overbooked mess. Street Profits then came out to help the New Day after they were attacked by Roode, Ziggler, Corbin, and Sami Zayn. Then this led to an 8-man tag match, of course, just time-wasting 101. It was sanctioned by Adam Pearce during the commercial break because every match seems to be made either during commercial breaks or on social media. Matches never seem to be made anymore in the ring.
I have to say, at least they noted that it was sanctioned as opposed to the usual. The match just starts after the commercial break with no rhyme or reason. So that's one small attention to detail. I don't know if it's an Adam Pearce thing or what, or maybe they've listened to me complain about it on the show, which I doubt, but I'd like to think that. But it gives it a little bit more credibility to say that some authority figure made the match happen as opposed to it just the wrestlers making the match themselves.
Well, now they have someone like Adam Pearce to kind of just throw
True official.
A true official.
Official of what? No one seems to know, but he's officially an official.
Yeah.
He's the Larson of SmackDown.
Well, he shows up every week, so I don't know about that. In the match itself, the New Day and the Street Profits defeated Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, and Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. Just a time-wasting match that really meant nothing and was kind of all over the place the way it was put together. You just had a bunch of guys just one after another in the opening segment, which they tend to do a lot. I mean this facetiously, but what an amazing way to kick off your go-home show for the pay-per-view. A bunch of randoms tagging together against people who have nothing to do with what they're doing at the pay-per-view, and with some people who aren't even on the show yet, especially two teams that are facing against each other tomorrow night. You have two teams teaming with each other as they're about to face each other in just 48 hours. Then you have a bunch of heels that are randomly joining arms now to kick off the show, coming out one.
That's what they did. They joined arms. They were like the Rockettes.
Yeah, they joined arms and then they came. They're suddenly on each other's, on the same page with each other.
Bobby Roode went into the Revival suitcase and pulled out a leather coat.
I can't. And it's not like it was the first 20 minutes. It was over a half hour, the first part of the show. And usually you'd want to kick off your go-home show with something that has to do with the pay-per-view. They barely mentioned Survivor Series. The commentators barely put over Survivor Series. Some people in this match have nothing to do with the show on Sunday other than Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn, which Baron Corbin's going to be one of the 5 in the traditional Survivor Series match, and Sami Zayn's probably going to get destroyed by Bobby Lashley tomorrow night. It did not feel like a go-home show start to me. And
it felt like a waste of time, to be honest.
It felt like a waste of time. It really didn't pump my nads for Survivor Series.
Pumping your nads.
For Survivor Series.
Pumping your nads.
It's just the first half hour to a go-home show was dedicated to a random 8-man tag match that was thrown together in all of about 3 minutes with a team that face each other on Sunday and a group of random heels. The whole night didn't feel like
The whole night didn't pump your nads.
The whole night didn't, and it didn't feel like a go-home show, and that's their problem.
You know when the last time Linda pumped my nads? But that's a different story for a different time, I guess.
I don't know. What did you think of this match?
I would have been thankful if she did. The match itself, it was fine, but it was just very uninteresting. It was pointless. There was no build-up, rhyme, or reason to it. It was needless. It was just something I wouldn't have suggested if I was in the creative meeting. And as someone that watched it, I was very happy that it ended. And I love Kofi. I enjoy Dolph Ziggler an awful lot most of the time. It's just...
See, the problem with WWE
I
today...
shrug my shoulders.
The problem today is just the belt...
What's the problem, brother? Tell us. Preach.
The bell-to-bell is fine. The in-ring wrestling is probably the best we've seen, but it's just everything
I
around...
wouldn't go that far with this. But
No, I'm talking about...
overall, yeah. Big picture. Yeah, you're right.
Like the talent... Today, you've said a lot of people say now they probably have the best talent they've ever had, but they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to write the storylines.
I don't know if I'd go that far. As far as them being the best group of
I'm saying like
talents,
athletic.
I'd say it's the
Like
best
in-ring
group of
ability.
athletes. As far as actual wrestling work rate goes, I still think their best roster they ever had was during the Attitude Era. But as far as physically what their bodies
That's what I'm
can
saying
do,
is like in
right
the...
now they're like rubber men a lot of the time, which is the amazing part of it. There's just no rhyme or reason to it. It's like a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle. It's like, what's his name?
Athlete? Who?
Ford, Montez Ford. You
Oh.
know, he does 2 or 3 amazing things. He does the same 2 or 3 amazing things in every match, 52 weeks a year. You know you're going to see his flip over the top rope. You know you're going to see his amazing 80-foot jump off of the top rope where he almost bumps into the top of the Thunderdome. He goes so high. You know you're going to get the lousy promo where he wants the smoke. And
The ring ropes where he shakes them.
the Ultimate Warrior spot. Repeat times 52. That's Montez Ford.
The same shit every week, and that goes for a lot of people. Even the same thing with his tag team partner, Angelo Dawkins. It's just he does the corner splash. He does the...
Slow.
Very slow. He does that...
Very slow. Almost Dan Mirade speed corner splash.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of them. I liked them in NXT, but then they got moved to the main roster, and they became too much.
What's the difference between them and NXT and WWE?
It's the same promo every week in WWE, and
There was more variety to their promos
They were-
than the small
they weren't-
NXT.
they weren't as comedy based when they were in NXT. They were more serious. They still had, the red solo cups and everything, but now they're a little too over the top.
I remember we were at the NXT live event in, I can't even think of the city. WWE was gracious enough to have us as their guests in, it was at a college in Rhode Island. I can't think of the...
Is it the University of Rhode Island?
Not Lincoln.
Johnson and Wales?
It'll come to me. Whatever. It was a house show in Rhode Island. In a smaller... During tough times, WWE would run house shows there themselves with the main brands. But Street Profits opened the show with their cups and their dancing, and the little Dutch boy, Wes Simcoe, happened to be there. And even though he is a tiny little fella, he was quite entertained by the Street Profits. He liked them. So I'd love to know what he thinks of the main brand version if he watched.
They were entertaining, and then they got too much.
Yeah.
But moving to the next segment
They
here.
had too much smoke. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not Smokey.
Or Trigger Trey.
Well, now maybe that could be a tag team. Smokey and Trigger Trey.
The next segment, Daniel Bryan returned after being away for 3 weeks after being attacked by Jey Uso. He had a new haircut, which I liked.
He did. You know what? Then that was a big improvement.
Did you?
I don't know why. He didn't look as feeble to me as the usual.
Not like
Bryan.
Sami Zayn, where he looks homeless.
Please.
Please. He cut a nice little return promo and talked about his main event match later on in the show with Jey Uso. What did you think about his little return back? I don't know what.
He was physically a little more impressive with the haircut. He looked, I don't know, just one of those small things, attention to detail, I guess. He didn't look just like a regular guy. I don't know. He looked like he had a little bit more pizzazz to him, and that's tough to do, but with Daniel. But
You think you could pull off that haircut?
Yeah. I've had my hair done like that before on Wrestling Insiders on some of the older episodes from last year, I believe.
Oh.
But anyway.
The next match, Natalya defeated Tamina. She qualified for Team SmackDown at Survivor Series. Kind of a quick match.
That was for the best.
Yeah. What did you think of this match? I mean,
Tamina had on her nice tribute to the Undertaker outfit. I thought that was nice. Natalya, it was the same Natalya match we've seen now for 15 years. And, it was a big win for her. She was very excited at the end that she qualified to join Team SmackDown. So I guess it meant something to her, as apparently SmackDown ran out of time with all of the filler garbage to actually have qualifying matches. So some people just got handed spots as opposed to having to win a match to get them, which was kind of pathetic. But, what are you going to do? They didn't ask me to the meeting.
The next segment.
I certainly wouldn't have suggested Tamina and Natalya.
Who else do you have, though? That's the thing. They don't have that many. I mean, they have a lot more women than they used to have, but still, to do what they're trying to do in today's PC world, they don't have enough to please everybody, literally and figuratively.
That's why I think they should just have one division. One show, just keep it away from the guys and let the fans that love, or the folks, I should say, that love the women's wrestling enjoy the Natalya and Tamina wars.
Hellacious battles.
I tell you, it was reminded me of Survive. It was actually this week. It was my first time I ever went to Madison Square Garden. WWE was kind enough to have us for Survivor Series 96. It was The Rock's on television debut. It was Steve Austin's first pay-per-view main event against Bret the Hitman Hart. And I remember The Undertaker came back after he was buried alive, and he floated down from the top of MSG as a bat. And that was kind of I think that was the look Tamina was looking for last night. It was Ode to Undertaker Survivor Series 96. I could be wrong. I don't know. She'd fit in well on one of those Saudi shows because she does not show any skin whatsoever.
I think that's for the better. The next segment, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns had their contract signing for some reason. I mean, if they have a contract signing, why wouldn't all the other Raw versus SmackDown matches have one?
They had those in the Champions Lounge.
Yeah. I don't like contract signings because they're not done enough and they're not done right. If you're going to do them for every world title match and not for the ones here and there. Sometimes they do them 1 week, then we don't see another one for 3 months. I feel like they do it randomly when they're trying to fill time on certain shows. And that's what it feels like sometimes. AEW, I think they do them for every world title match. They do their contract signings. And even for their bigger matches, AEW, they do their contract signings. I mean, if you do them for your world title matches all the time, I like that. If you do them in creative ways, yes. If it's the same shit all the time, gets a little boring.
How creative can you be with a contract?
I know, but
all they're really doing is signing pieces of paper.
But sometimes the contract signing, it doesn't always have to be out in the ring. You could do it back in the office somewhere. I don't know. I'm not a fan of contract signings, but if I had to do them, and if someone told me I had to do it a certain way, I would just do it for every world title match instead of, one contract signing every 3 months or whatever, or only do them for the blow off matches or the stipulation matches like Hell in a Cell. You want to make sure your opponent shows up for a Hell in a Cell match. If it's a regular one-on-one, someone's not going to be afraid to show up. But if it's no holds barred, someone might not want to do the match. So you want to have the contract signed.
Well, looking at it from a realistic point of view, you'd think that you'd have a contract signed for every match on every show. But
that's what I'm saying
why add that bit of realism to it?
That's why I would not do them at all if I had the choice. But if I had to do them,
contract signings.
Yeah. Why would a Raw versus SmackDown matchup that's already official because of the circumstances of Survivor Series need a contract signing?
Because they didn't sign the contract yet.
But you know what I mean, though? The match is already official. It's
maybe no match is official until the contract is signed.
I wish they would explain that every match needs a contract, but in some cases it needs to be, I don't know. They don't explain them well, and sometimes they're not done well. But this was actually one of the better. It's funny because this is one of the better contract signings that I liked. I liked that they were mic'd up and didn't have mics in their hands. It gave that meeting feel to it, more of a serious and personal tone.
Very serious. Very
I also
personal.
liked Roman moving Adam Pearce from the head of the table and sat there. I thought that
He was the head of the table.
I thought that was a subtle thing that kind of one of the smaller things that meant more. Very good back and forth talk from both men. It felt real and not scripted. I just wish they did a longer build for Reigns and McIntyre instead of doing that bullshit title change at Hell in a Cell. We've talked about it on past shows. I thought something else that was kind of funny was the Velcro tear of the belt.
And you could hear it.
When Paul Heyman picked up the title and you heard the of the title, I thought that was hilarious.
You know what it reminded me of? You're talking now maybe when I was in the 3rd or 4th grade. But for those wild kids that wanted to reenact Hulk Hogan and destroy T-shirts, they actually released one where you could rip the Hulk Hogan T-shirt and there was Velcro in the middle of it, and then you could Velcro it back together again. That's what that reminded me of when I heard Paul Heyman tinkering with the championship belt.
I just wish they still had the real belts with the buttons or whatever.
Well, the buttons are still on the back of it. They just have no back to them. They're just decor, I guess.
It looks like it's real, but it's Velcro, and it looks like one of the, or it feels like they're using those titles that you find at Walmart for $20 with the Velcro on the back.
And you know what's funny? I know WWE was kind enough to send Baby Mirade the is the blue one the Universal Championship?
Yeah.
They sent him the nice. I think it's about $500 on the website, and it actually is buttons.
Yeah, the ones that I have too all have.
It's not Velcro.
Oh, but I don't think they sell the Velcro ones. I think that.
Oh, those are just for the real champ. The real champions get the Velcro, but the fans.
I don't
get
know
the
why they
buttons.
went to Velcro. I don't know. It doesn't look better. It doesn't sound better for sure when you hear that.
I'll say this: trying to snap them on can be a nuisance. Taking it off, not so much.
I get that. I don't know, but
Maybe it's speed they were looking for.
maybe I have to win a title to
You do.
get my input. I thought it was an overall good segment.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I actually sat through that one, and even though I was waiting for the show just to end, at that point it was at least holding my interest.
It turned a bad idea into a good segment, I thought. It was it was kind of a contract signing that really didn't need to happen, and they actually ended up being pretty good. Usually that doesn't happen a lot in WWE with their bad ideas. Usually their bad ideas end up, bad. But this time I wasn't. If I say contract signing for a Raw versus SmackDown match, why do you? It's not for a title. It's I don't know. It didn't feel like a time filler, but it kind of was. Didn't really need to happen, but they did it, and it ended up fine.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
The next match, Murphy defeated Seth Rollins. This will be Rollins' last match on SmackDown for a while, since he will be getting time off soon because of Becky Lynch expecting the birth of their child soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There's a lot of... what's funny is every Shield member is going to have a kid this year. Or, wow, expecting this year.
What a big blockbuster.
Should I have put that in the news and notes section?
Maybe it was that big. You should have saved it. Yeah.
I thought it was
good to know that the Shield members are not shooting bullets. It's good to know that their partners are not putting up shields in their reproductive areas for Roman, John, and Seth.
I thought this Murphy and Rollins match was solid, though. I mean, I kind of.
All right, you go.
I kind of knew Murphy was going to win because everyone knows Rollins is getting time off soon. So, I mean, why would Rollins win his last match and then go off into the sunset for a couple months or whatever?
And he had about 18 people at ringside, almost like it was a lumberjack match.
Again, the bell to bell is fine, but now you see Ray and Aaliyah and Dominic are now on Murphy's side. I guess Angie's on that Brock Lesnar contract. I don't know. She
only does the big ones.
Yeah, she only does the big ones.
She's trying to sign Paul Heyman to cut her promos for her, I guess, because she's on the Maggie Simpson verbal approach.
But now the Mysterio family's behind Murphy, and it's just want it to end at this point. It's been going on since March, I believe, April, something like that, and it's gone on for way too long. It's just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it at this point. It's been done to death.
I have to say this, and it's a shame to say it considering the parties involved, but by far this is the worst feud of 2020 I can think of, and I can't speak to what goes on in Ring of Honor and TNA or Impact, whatever it's called now. But as far as AEW and NXT and WWE, which I do watch every week, I mean, horrible execution from beginning to end. And it's Seth, and again, it's not Seth Rollins the person. It's Seth Rollins, the Messiah character, that has just dragged us down into the bottom barrels of boring. Then you throw in all of these Mysterios. I mean, it's just, it's almost like Shield member children. They're just everywhere.
The offspring.
You had of course, Rollins and outside the ring, and you had that tool that you need to build every wrestling ring at every arena in the world, the kendo stick. Was just waiting for him again right under the ring. And then, he took out Ray, he took out Dominic, Murphy was injured, and then he had poor Aaliyah, almost like a horror movie, on the ground, begging away, please, Seth, don't come any further. Only Murphy can get this close to me. They cut to the commercial break. As you can hear, I think Candy was the referee.
Yeah, she was.
You can hear Candy trying to throw out an occasional one every 45 seconds. In an attempted finish of the match, a very dramatic moment of the match, they cut to the commercial break. They come back. The wrestlers are in the ring wrestling, and all three Mysterios
are standing on the side
again, like nothing ever happened before the commercial break. That's to me is just one of those things. It's like, what are you doing? Come on. Who put this match together?
There's no continuity at all. With WWE.
Forget about week to week. You're talking...
Yeah, just a segment.
You're talking about a 2.5-minute commercial break. Everybody recovered and was back to normal again.
Many holes, many holes.
Well, no,
and then the thing that I loved was not even 20 seconds after the bell rang on Murphy and Rollins' match, SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks came out. You could tell they were short on time last night because right when that 1, 2, 3 hit, I had to have been 10 seconds later. Sasha Banks came out, and then the whole group of Murphy and the Mysterio family were just swept aside as Sasha came down.
They went the Eleanor Rastani route. They were out the back door.
They rushed Sasha Banks out there, then they went right to commercial, and then they came back from commercial, and Asuka was halfway through her entrance already. Raw Women's Champion Asuka, I should say. She was already in the middle of her entrance, and they never explained what they were going to do with them. Michael Colden interviewed the two champions and talked to them about their feud and the upcoming match on Sunday. Sasha Banks and Asuka went back and forth. Carmella attacked Sasha from behind while Asuka stood by and watched.
Yelled in Japanese.
Which I'm glad they had her stand by and not help Sasha, because sometimes they do dumb stuff like that. I'm sure you've seen them do it before.
Save the opponent before Sunday. One thing, not that the promo was any good, I just couldn't believe how long it was. It was never ending, and they didn't have much of interest to say.
No, and Michael Cole didn't seem too enthralled with the segment either.
Michael really isn't enthralled with much, other than anything that begins with a B, unless he can scream Balor or Big Dog or Bailey or
Boss Time.
Boss Time. Anything with a B that can just pop out of him. Then he gets almost like he's having an orgasm. Other than that, it's tough for Michael, unless it's got a B involved.
Another segment. Just too many things just felt like time-filling bullshit. Kind of just time-wasting 101 is what I call it. And it's just, how many segments can we throw out there that really don't have any feel or meaning to them? And just...
did not make me want to see the match more.
That's the thing, and it didn't feel like
wanted it to end.
It didn't feel like a go-home show last night, and that was the main problem. You're not hyping people up for the pay. I'll get into that later. We won't talk about that. But the main event...
Imagine if Michael ever got to say Better Business Bureau on SmackDown.
They should actually have him do that.
He might actually have an orgasm.
Corey better watch out. The main event of the night, Daniel Bryan defeated Jey Uso via roll-up in the main event of SmackDown. Nothing like having a main event on the go-home show that has nothing to do with the upcoming pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan's not on the show, and Jey Uso's in that traditional five-man match that no one really cares about. The beginning and the end of the show almost had nothing to do with Survivor Series. You'd think they'd end the show, the last show before the pay-per-view, with something to hype you up, watch, or at least buy the show on Sunday.
This was almost like the week after.
Yeah. WWE loves to do their 50-50 booking as well, which is why they'll never be able to make new stars. A thought that I always have, and it kind of popped up in this match as well.
Yeah.
Shouldn't being put through a table be a disqualification? I know it's usually not, but I feel like it should be. Like getting put through the announce table, like that's an inanimate object. So you'd think getting...
If in the middle of the match, yeah.
That's
under traditional rules.
Yeah, I mean, getting put through a table, and it's not like it's a regular table. That announce table's got some shit on it, too. So if you land on one of those monitors or whatever they have, it's just, by rule, you'd think getting put through a table, whether it's the announce table or not, it's got to be a disqualification.
Even the timekeeper's table, perhaps.
That little thing.
Kind of hard, though. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get creative with Nia and Lana, and she'll attempt to do that one.
Oh, boy. Again, solid match, bell to bell. I mean, it was good, but I mean, we saw it 3 weeks ago. I don't know why Daniel Bryan had to go away for 3 weeks. I mean, he took that splash.
He had to probably do the babysitting while Brie and Nikki were off
doing their total bellas,
opening up the next failure of a business with clothing lines and wine and all the other things that nobody really cares about.
Because their viewership for total bellas or whatever is awful, so they got to do something else. But I mean, a main event that really had nothing to do with Sunday, and that's one of their problems they have. They don't know how to build up a pay-per-view. They don't know how to build up the storylines. They don't even know how to do go-home shows. The first half hour was just bullshit, and the main event had nothing to do with it. And to close the show, they just throw in there, this Sunday, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. Thank you. Have a good night. It's just...
Unless Bryan is getting the title shot against Roman at the next pay-per-view.
That's the next
waste that they have Jey Uso lose, where they've done such a great job building him up.
The next, the planned feud for Roman Reigns next is supposed to be Daniel Bryan. So
Hopefully
I mean,
he eats Bryan, because I mean Daniel is just a great wrestler, but I mean,
you know what, I bet
comeback has just been. If you could rewind the clock to 2018, would you care about anything that Daniel's done not happening?
But even the first feud, it was him and Shane McMahon versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania in a tag team match that nobody cared about. It was just thrown into the
mid-card match. Yeah.
It was a mid-card match thrown in. I would have maybe had it kick off the show or right before the. I don't know. It's just, it was thrown into the middle of the show. You know, actually, now that I think about it, you know what I could see Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan? I could see their match being a tables match, because he put Jey through the table 3 weeks ago, and someone got put through the table last night on SmackDown.
Yeah, if they want to fill all three of the gimmicks, yeah.
So I mean, I could see it being a tables match in a couple weeks. You know, they could play up the thing where he got put through the table by Jey, and then I believe he's the one who put Jey through the table last night. So I could see them possibly doing a tables match between Roman and Daniel Bryan.
If you see Roman and Jey putting Bryan through a table next Friday post Survivor Series, you know where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to guarantee it, but I bet next Saturday when we're doing our show, I know what I'm going to say to you. Remember when I said
what we said last Saturday when we were half asleep at the podcast penthouse?
Not in southwestern Connecticut.
No, right here at the zip code of Champion, 02176.
But I already know next Saturday, bright and early, I'm going to say to you, what happened last night? I bet you they'll kick off the show with Roman coming out and bragging, and then I bet Bryan's going to come out. You know what? They're probably going to milk it out into 2 or 3 segments next week. They're going to have the opening segment, then they're going to have it close the show too, I bet, because they got to get at least 3 segments out of everybody on the show. What did you think of the main event match? I thought it was okay.
I thought it was a good match,
yeah.
Long finish, unless the direction is going to be Bryan and Uso. And I would not have had that match if it is that direction, I would have kickstarted it next week, not this week.
Yeah, I mean,
But what do I get? I always talk about my P's, patience and pacing. And the pacing of it was definitely off. No reason for Russo to lose if he's on that SmackDown team.
at least it was a roll-up. You didn't get him clean.
What I don't understand is, well, maybe it's in your news and notes section, so I'm going to bite my tongue for a moment.
Yeah, but a few weeks ago was when that report came out of Reigns and Bryan having their little program. No one is expecting Bryan to win that title anyway. It's probably going to be a little. They'll probably do a match at TLC, and then they'll probably do another match at the Rumble, and then they'll set up Roman's feud at WrestleMania for the title, which I don't even know who he'd face at WrestleMania.
Well, John Cena Sr. and I did a very interesting episode about some of the proposed WrestleMania main events.
Yeah.
With him and his piece.
Yeah.
The one that I thought was very interesting, which would have been Roman with Paul Heyman defending against Lesnar with John Cena Sr., apparently was just an internet rumor. I asked him about it on the air, and he said
it was in the Observer.
Well, and then the most recent one that I read was that there were romantic relations between Johnny and Margot Ouellette from Ms. and Mrs. fame. Apparently was not true either.
I don't know. I think I saw that one in the Torch.
Well, it was a scandalous affair, apparently, but Johnny said there is no truth to it.
There's still time, though.
The Ruth Bader Ginsburg of WWE and Johnny did not get physical.
That one might have been in the New York Post, I believe. We'll get into our grade.
Johnny had to learn a little French. I don't know.
Oui. We'll get into our grades right now for SmackDown. I gave it a 4 out of 10, and I still think that's a little generous.
Then I went with a 3, because I just honestly, what do we got? Who are these kids? I got the window open this morning. There was some kids coming near the door to the...
Are they trick-or-treaters?
A little
Are they
late for that, but
late trick-or-treaters?
Or early, depending upon your point of view. But no, I gave it a 3. There's just nothing about Survivor Series I'm interested in other than what they do with Undertaker. I thought you had like I said, I thought the contract signing was pretty good. I thought the main event was a good match, just the wrong week and the wrong finish. And there's just a whole lot of nothing. Whole lot of nothing going on. I was get a break from Seth Rollins as a result of it for a few years, I'll take it.
I was a little generous. I could have won a 3, but I was at another 3.5, and I just bumped it up to a 4. I didn't want to go down to a 3 because this week I was kind of harsh on them a little bit. So you know what? I was mean our past couple shows. So I said, you know what? I was in a decent mood last night.
There was nothing to make me. If I was the average fan watching at home, I could not imagine sitting through that.
You wouldn't even know Survivor Series was Sunday watching that show.
Yeah.
We'll get into. I have a few news and notes here.
All right, please.
Otis was added to.
That was what I was going to bring.
Was
up.
added to the SmackDown men's team at Survivor Series, which I don't know why or how. Everybody else has to do a qualifying match, yet he was announced and Bayley was announced to the SmackDown women's team at Survivor Series. 2 people never had to do a qualifying match, never had to do anything, and they've actually. Bayley she lost her last match against Sasha at Hell in a Cell. So Bayley's just added to the team. Otis is just announced to the team. No, but I mean, it's just, why do the qualifying matches if you're just going to announce people for it right before? It's just another unorganic, no one cares type of thing. Oh, you know what? We'll get Otis. And it was supposed to be Big E, but then they changed it to Otis.
I'll say this. They should either all have to qualify or just none of them should have to qualify. They should just announce the match with the powers that be on each brand putting their best team of 5 together, right? Seeing Otis in any way, shape, or form to me is just uninteresting. Maybe if Tucker was on Team Raw, I don't know.
See, that would
have had his chance at vengeance. But
see, that would be...
Tucker is relegated now to 24/7 championship matches on Raw. With that new look that I didn't even recognize as him. That
would be a little better if they did Tucker and Otis on each team, but I mean, I don't know. See, they could have built that up. See, the funny thing was, they did that big Tucker turn at Hell in a Cell, and they never mentioned it on TV. They might have mentioned during one of his jobber matches, oh, his old friend Otis, here he goes. He just lost in 5 minutes or whatever. You know, they just do something. I don't know. Too much complaining, I guess, as people say in our comment section in the live chat.
And
but when there's
I'm sorry.
But when there's too much to complain about, I mean, how much is there to praise? You know, how many segments are there on the show that we can kind of put on a pedestal and say that was really good?
I mean, not for nothing. With this garbage show they had last night, they couldn't have fit Otis in anywhere. I mean, they couldn't have replaced that pointless 8-man tag team match with Otis qualifying.
That took up over a half hour of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know why you needed to do that for 30, 35 minutes. And then that long, stupid woman's interview that...
You're right? That went on for eternity.
That not only was it pointless, they took the spotlight away from Survivor Series. They had Carmella come out and attack Sasha, which has nothing to do with Survivor Series.
I can't imagine how bad those matches are going to be.
Oh, someone's getting injured, I'll tell you that. With Sasha...
If not both.
With Sasha and Carmella,
with offense that won't look real to begin with, which is the
someone's gonna mess up in one of those matches. Sasha's gonna go for one of those top rope meteors or go for the knees or something like that. She's gonna catch Carmella in the face and break her nose. Someone's gonna break their ankle doing some ring apron spot. Someone's gonna try. Sasha's going to try to do some suicide dive, and Carmella's going to move out of the way because she looks like a twig, and Sasha's going to break her. I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but I just think it's an awful, awful match. It's an injury waiting to happen, and it sucks that we have to say that about these two, but here we are.
Well, it's like what a close friend told me. Vince McMahon said about Sasha Banks at an internal meeting. She's the female Daniel Bryan. Always ready to break.
Oh, well, that's one way to put it. I mean, that TLC.
Otis is not ready to break.
Oh, he's ready to bounce off. He's ready to do he's ready to Hulk up, or I don't know what he calls it, but where he does where he does that thing where he shakes, where someone will give him the chop and he does that little shake.
That's Tony or Marty. Marty. Oh, all right, Marty. We'll get
have him do the run-in.
No, that's all right.
No.
Well, I think maybe that's the take it home signal.
Probably.
It's amazing. Last Saturday, it was Tony whose phone calls were driving me insane, which led to, I don't even think you heard the Dan Mirade shoot on Patreon.
I haven't heard the details of what happened last week. All I got...
Well, he was 3.5 hours early, and I had no help. I was in the middle of other projects, and he just arrived out of the blue.
Well,
and I wanted to stab him.
But what did he say to you when he walked in?
The doors were locked. He couldn't get in.
So
luckily, Chairman Manolian ran interference and called him on the phone and told him I wouldn't be here until 2:30. So,
oh boy.
But I was very stressed out. I was very angry. I had a lot of work to do.
Every text message I got that morning was in all caps.
Well, there you go. So, because you were off enjoying your comedy show at Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods or wherever it was.
Foxwoods, and that was...
Soxwoods, maybe.
Maybe.
That'll be your casino.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, well, do we have anything else to add? We got to edit this really quick before you get the rocker himself.
No, nothing else to add. Not even 24 hours removed from SmackDown as we move into our live stream tomorrow night with Marty Jannetty for Survivor Series 2020. A show that I'm particularly not looking forward to, but hopefully you guys can look forward to watching it with us. You know, the show might not be that good, but hopefully we add a little bit of entertainment to your night as you watch along with us for Survivor Series. The best of the best. One night of the year, Raw versus SmackDown.
Well, if you want to kick off your day with some great wrestling talk, fans, don't forget at noontime on the YouTube channel, high noon, we're going to be joined in studio by Vicky Guerrero. Great interview. Then at 7 o'clock, we go live for not only the Survivor Series watch-along, but Marty Jannetty joins us for the virtual autograph signing as part of the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. Remember that. We're not just here to talk great wrestling. We're here to support the toy drive. So with your support, we can help update Santa's GPS and honor Paul Bearer's memory. For my partner in crime with me at the podcast suite, I'm Dan Mirade. We will see you for a big Sunday. Have a good night, folks. Be well. Wrestling fans, the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fanfest explodes into Christmas with interactive cyber autograph signings, live interviews, raffles, merchandise, and more. We were excited to bring you a wrestling event here in Boston, but we have the ability to bring a Cyber Fanfest to great fans like you around the world. Recent WWE NXT Cruiserweight Champion Lio Rush kicked off the drive with autograph photos and posters still for sale online. Let's run down the list of remaining cyber autograph signings where you can get an autograph photo for yourself or to give to a friend or a loved one this holiday. Mail order for your items is also available. On Survivor Series Sunday, November the 22nd, Marty Jannetty will be with us live for a cyber autograph signing during the Farewell to the Undertaker. You never know what to expect with Marty in studio live. We're back Friday, December the 4th with the veteran former Nation of Domination member Savio Vega, a.k.a. Quang, making a rare appearance in Boston. Things are going to get nasty on Saturday, December the 5th when Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs, the Nasty Boys, join us for the very first time. A great chance to get the former WWE and WCW Tag Team Champions signed. Sunday night, December the 6th, WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas returns for a Cyber Christmas party during our NXT Takeover Watch Along. Tony will be signing autographs and will also have his art available for purchase. The following Friday, December the 11th, one of the most powerful superstars in wrestling history, the Warlord, joins us live in studio discussing his WWF run beginning in 1988. Saturday, December the 12th, the superstar undefeated for 2 years in the WWF, Native American Tatanka, will be with us supporting the toy drive. Then on Sunday, December the 13th, it's a double feature of future star superstars as recent Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament competitor Wheeler Yuta joins us in studio for the first time after competing here in Boston Wrestling MWF, along with the man visiting us for the first time in 8 years, the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann. And it wouldn't be Christmas without old John Cena Sr. with us live and in person as he's been working the phones on the North Pole. Again, autographs and all-inclusive VIP packages are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. Help our tradition of updating Santa's GPS to find every kid's home this year while creating smiles and honoring the late, great Paul Bearer's memory. From our family to yours, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.